Mike, what are you hearing from the White House press secretary?
Yeah, we'll have doctor-to-doctor conversion here because we just got a statement first from the White House press secretary revealing that the president is indeed going to travel back to Delaware to self-isolate. Of course, the president here in Nevada for the last 48 hours roughly, and the question would be, would he remain here in Las Vegas? No, according to the White House press secretary, he will travel to Delaware and self-isolate and continue to carry out all of his duties fully during that time. Now let me read a statement from Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who is the White House's physician, said that this afternoon President Biden presented upper respiratory symptoms to include a runny nose, a non-productive cough, and general malaise. He felt okay for his first event of the day, but given that he was not feeling better, point-of-care testing for COVID was conducted and the results were positive. Given this, he will be self-isolating in accordance with CDC guidance for symptomatic individuals. So the statement goes on to say that his heart rate is normal, his temperature is normal, his pulse oximetry is normal at 97%, and that the president has already received a first dose of Paxlovid. So as you would imagine, the president travels with a full-time medical unit, so they are watching his symptoms moment by moment, especially if he does feel under the weather. Of course, he had that cold. We all remember being told he had that cold during that first debate on June 27th with President Trump. So these were new symptoms, according to this statement from the White House doctor. And now the president will be returning to Delaware, where he had been scheduled to travel after this Las Vegas swing. This is the second time the president has tested positive for COVID-19. The first time was in April of 2022. He did have a bounce-back case, a rebound case that followed shortly after his initial negative test that followed that positive test. But so the president obviously is kept with the best care, but he has been around quite a lot of people in these last 48 hours during this Las Vegas swing. So we're going to be looking back at his schedule to include all those, including the many hands he was shaking earlier today at a retail stop at a Mexican restaurant here in the Las Vegas area.
And we have some footage of that, as Mike is reporting, from traveling with the president in Nevada. Dr. Gupta back with us. Please give us your understanding of basically the tail end of that statement from the president's doctor here. The breaking news here within the last 15 minutes or so, that President Biden has tested positive for COVID, returned to self-isolate. And I'll read that back to you. I know we just got this. It says the PCR confirmation test is pending. The president's doctor says the symptoms are, quote, mild, the respiratory rate normal at 16, the temperature normal at 97.8, the pulse normal at 97%, and noting the president has received his first dose of Paxlovid. Your response to that information?
Well, Ari, it's like you and I are on medical rounds here. And so, first of all, that was detailed very comprehensively. And it all tracks. This is exactly what we would expect. It makes sense that they tested him. He has mild upper respiratory symptoms. They tested him. He's positive. He's already started first dose of Paxlovid, as we were talking about before this new information. So it all tracks. I suspect if past his prologue that this is going to be self-limited, he won't have progression of symptoms because especially they're mild up front. His vital signs are normal. He's early treatment, all good signs, and that hopefully in 5 days you'll test negative and be back on the campaign trail. That's the best case scenario. I have no reason not to think that that's where things are headed. But the fact that he has a normal physical exam right now, normal vital signs, all encouraging signs here. And hopefully within less than a week, he'll be back on his feet.
And Doctor, I want to ask you another question. We're looking at live pictures here of President Biden at the Las Vegas airport. He is, of course, still surrounded by his security detail, but he is en route to self-isolate, according to a new statement from the president's doctor and White House Press Secretary Jean-Pierre. Go ahead. I couldn't hear that. Was that the doctor? No. So we're watching President Biden go up the steps here. He has just tested positive for COVID. He has canceled the event he was going to do. You can see, of course, him boarding Air Force One.
Yep.
Doctor, the information from the president's doctor is what you were just responding to. At this very early stage, is that about the normal course of information that you would want, or is there anything else you think that would be helpful to know?
You know, Ari, at this point, he's traveling. He's getting evaluated, presumably with minimal resources. they're doing a full physical exam and they have a full set of vitals. That's generally speaking what I would want to understand where are we headed. So I think this is an initial set of data points, and it's pretty comprehensive. No need for advanced diagnostics, like say a chest X-ray, because it looks like he's actually ambulating and walking up this set of stairs and doing okay, not having trouble breathing. So if there is no signs or symptoms suggesting that he's having difficulty breathing, that he's having anything above just a sort of mild upper respiratory symptoms, I don't think that there's a need for advanced diagnostics to say, well, gosh, does he have a pneumonia? Because it doesn't look like he has a pneumonia. He has self-limited upper respiratory symptoms. Let's hope it stays that way. I do hope that the president, as he's on board at 30,000 feet, is wearing a mask, is doing everything he can to protect himself and others, which I'm sure is going to be the case. But again, I think this is going to be self-limited based on his initial presentation, and also the fact that he's been vaccinated and has been up to date on his vaccines. That's going to also help mitigate any risk of severity.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.